you very much, Ms. Zeynep, for this comprehensive presentation. I would like to jump into the questions now. The first question is my question. I'm also providing architecture parts into the role of lecturer in distance education. Is it any different than face-to-face education? The project implementer, or what do you think about it? In distant education, everybody becomes a box. So it's about the approach. It's the process that we have identified with students, the weeks. And what sort of a study are you expecting? That's what we asked in a questionnaire to the students, like questions and answers in a Google form basis. And then we interviewed, we discussed over that. So we didn't come up with a fixed curriculum. Face-to-face architectural design studios, 1, 2, 3, implementers were well prepared. Where, what sort of fields, what sort of applications needed. During this process, rather, we said, let's have a flexible curriculum, let's keep things based on the expectations of the students. That was the biggest difference, I guess. In addition to that, the capabilities, the technical capabilities of the students, and to what extent they feel close to digital applications, at which parts they are more skilled. They were different than face-to-face education. In face-to-face workshops, especially in the first semester, we were not making use of computers, we were using hands in drawing and designing. Of course, here, manual design is still important, but you need to be reflecting on digital setting. It was the biggest difference as an experience. That's what we have experienced together. So we were open to students' approaches. Mobile phones and the applications there are quite important. In face-to-face workshops, we didn't have any of these equipment, especially in 1 and 2. That's how I can summarize. Thank you. Let's continue with the written questions. The first one, Ayşegül İzer's presentation has a question. Because of digital environment, presentation skills of students are encouraged, which is very useful. What do you think about the future when compared to face-to-face students that's never had distant education? When compared, what do you think the situation is going to be like? Thank you very much for this question. I can give an answer to that. In basic design course, those who didn't receive online education, when they continue with the second grade, they started to take the project course. And during the project course, they learned some skills. So it's not so easy to find such students. This semester, we have started face-to-face education. Last year was quite efficient on Teams, on digital setting. Presentation skills were encouraged, and they built up those skills. So there is no such distinction, actually. Of course, it's possible to make some research there. On a gradual basis, this level of success in students can be observed. Thank you very much for the suggestion. Thank you very much for this answer. Now I'm continuing with the questions. Çetin Tüker has a question. To each of you, actually. John Seweller's cognitive law theory says that solution providing creativity is something to do with the amount of information in the memory and the load on the memory. So if there is no information here, then random solutions are produced and tried. So how about the increasing creativity in cases of crisis? Can it be explained in that context? Is it? I guess this question will be handled tomorrow. I guess. But still, if you have any views over this question, please share it. Do you think that creativity is increasing at times of crisis? I can give an answer to that question. I think so. One of the participants said another theory supports the idea that it doesn't increase creativity. But in our case, according to our experience, it's possible to say that we experienced this clearly 2.5 months of time. What sort of design studio exercises can be done? That's what we had to think rapidly. And the most important situation about this awkward thing is that there is a lack of literature in this field. So I think that this is enriching creativity. That pressure, I don't know in medical terms, but maybe it's adrenaline that has a positive impact on creativity. In a shorter time frame, you need to be producing a higher number of products. So that's how I see this situation. I agree that such emergencies lead to some reactions at the unconscious level. Can I have a word? Please go ahead. Thank you very much for your assistance. They're going to be handling this issue tomorrow. Tuğçe is going to be joining as well. Our students are coming from high schools. So when they first enter the university in the first semester, this situation increases the level of risk in students because they didn't know anything about what they are going to be experiencing. But those in the second semester, they made use of that stress. They took advantage of the pandemic. Thank you. Thank you very much. We can proceed with the next questions and leaving this question to tomorrow's discussions. Chetin asks a question to Zeynep. Paul Kushner, John Suarez studies say that first grade, second grade students who are not so knowledgeable in the field, they are having difficulty in learning what, and the outcomes are not achieved as efficiently. So direct educational methods are suggested, and that's what the experimental studies support. What do you think about this? Well, yes, we are aware of these studies. However, on the other hand, during this time frame, almost 40 of 80 students followed up that read, listen, watch assignments. Just like in Philip Learning, it was maybe a similar training. We maybe prepared them about the future, the processes, about design, increase, opening up their senses, but about to where it is going to be transferred to. You know, they didn't have their initiative to do things. We have divided things distributed the topics to the weeks. They were clear and they were shared with the students. After making the decision what sort of things we are going to be doing, we just set the time frames. We had such charts on the distant education module of university. We were actively sharing them. But it was an exhausting time frame for us. When they noticed it, they noticed that we are there 7/24 hours. This interface was started to be used unbelievably efficiently. They were so demanding. Studio critics, at 8 o'clock in the evening, they were just sending a message to say, can we talk? And this is what I have as a phase. This is how I advanced, etc. So it was very exhausting for lecturers, not for students. Now the situation just the opposite. We are doing face-to-face education. Students come up and say, hey, we were just so comfortable while we were working on the model while you were talking. Everything was so smooth when we were doing online education. Lack of time, a need for socialization, not being focused on working, etc. So I can summarize my answer as follows. The time limits of this process have been identified by us, and the scale, we wanted to take it to a certain level. As we knew what their capabilities would be like. In digital setting, they were unlimited. We left them free. Thank you very much for your answer. Although we have got another question, we are out of time because Helen Armstrong is going to be talking later on. If you like, we can talk about it tomorrow, okay? We can, again, elaborate tomorrow. Hope Heidi Kaplan, who asked the question, won't get angry at me. Thank you very much for your attendance. Let's close this one. Thank you. Thank you very much, distinguished attendants and speakers. We are going to be giving a short break now. And then our keynote speaker, Helen Armstrong, is going to be talking about peering into the black box, how artificial intelligence impact design practice.